Racing. Green light, they're set to go. Green light's on. Set for a start.
Koblenz is holding on. Cup glory for Koblenz.
But it is all heart-style Rico, and he is going to absolutely bolt the Melbourne Cup in.
Green light is on for the Green Light On podcast.
Yes, the green light's on for the Green Light On podcast / vodcast. Something a little bit new as I'm with my main man here, Smithy. And my goodness, mate, we've gone from just a podcast to being in the flesh, in the Sportsbet studios in Melbourne town. Hello to you and welcome aboard, my friend.
I'll tell you what, we're just getting bigger and bigger, this Green Light On podcast. I'm very, very excited to be here. Obviously, nice and kind of the crew over at Sportsbet to allow us in here. But it is a little bit different hearing me this early in the week as well, Jim.
It is good. Yes, we're looking at Sandown Park, which is obviously what we do on this episode. But obviously, this is about being the big podcast that it is. And we're getting an exclusive this time, Smithy, taking a look at the top 12 when it comes to selections for the three big Group 1s at the Meadows coming up.
Yeah, exactly right. The Temley, the Rookie Rebel and the Zoom Top, they're obviously three-time honoured races. They've been around for plenty of years. They've changed slightly in the last couple of years from going from an invitational-only process to now the connections nominate and then we select from there, and we've settled on a top 12 to kind of create a little bit more of excitement, and obviously the final fields will come later in the week with the box draw on Saturday night, but it's an exciting time.
Oh, it's an exciting time, hence the reason we're here in the flesh, and I'm just having a little bit of a look around, and I remember driving in here about 15, 20 minutes ago, Smithy, and just looking at the big buildings. We're both country boys at heart. And I tell you what, there was this moment, like a little inkling where I just thought to myself, I feel like we've made it. This podcast, myself, you, Smithy, as a team, we're slowly getting there.
Certainly in the big time, but we've got Ricky Ponting 2007 behind me, and that's probably what I'm most happy about in this studio. I think they've done it nice and stylishly.
I like it. It's a regal setup, but let's forget about the setup because this is all about announcing the top 12. And I must say, Smithy, throughout the week this week, I've had a few people messaging me and they know that we're putting this podcast together and they're trying to get the inside info. But me being Mr. Integrity said, I'm giving nothing away. Now, you were kind enough to send the top 12 out, I think it was last night. We've had them for about 24 hours, but you can trust me with your live, Smithy, because I mentioned it to nobody.
I'm really proud of you, mate. It must be a sign of maturity because I was a little bit worried. I was like, I don't know if I should be sending these over to Jim, but I said, no, he needs to do a little bit of preparation, the professional that he is. So I thought I'd send them through to you and make sure that we had a little embargo on them and make sure the announcement goes smoothly. But as you said, exclusive for Green Light On podcast. It's journalistic integrity at its finest from you, mate.
I was really surprised you sent them through, but let's get into it now, starting with the Temley, the big one, 5:25, time-honoured race, one of the races that can make a greyhound. And we saw last year Aston Rupee got the job done. It's just a race that can then go on to develop the greyhounds into something that could become a superstar stud dog down the track. Now, we're going to announce them one by one, and we'll have a little bit of a chat about them and then the market as well, starting with the first greyhound. This is alphabetical order, and you wouldn't be surprised to see it's Amron Boy.
Amron Boy is probably at the top of many people's lists, but we are doing it alphabetically. He's obviously the Silver Chief champ from not too long ago. He was enormous in a Phoenix and he deserves his spot in the top 12.
Second greyhound to make the top 12, not necessarily making the field, but they're in the top 12, so they're drawing closer, Smithy, as Baby JC, and she would have done herself no harm with a win at the Meadows Saturday night.
Yeah, exactly right. She was enormous on Saturday night. She's won the Pat Haas Classic, which is a bitches only race. She's been second in a Group 1. She's got plenty of early speed, so she doesn't look out of place in something
Electrified's the third greyhound in. WA star, likes to explode out of the box and look for the rails, so if it does get a run, box draws are going to be important.
Yeah, I'm sure Team Shinners will be looking for box one if they do get a run in the race. I think it's had 18 starts at Cannington over in WA for 15 wins, plenty of them being in top class, so it's an absolute rocket from the west.
Fernando Mick is the fourth greyhound by alphabetical order that makes the top 12, and I need to ask the team here at Sportsbet if I can get some bonus bets because I lost a bit on him last night. Gamble responsibly, of course, but in a heat of the Launceston Cup, I thought he'd win, and he just missed. He was a bit unlucky, but we know what he can do. He almost won the Melbourne Cup. If it wasn't for Yachi Bell doing something extraordinary, he wins the Melbourne Cup. So Fernando Mick is the fourth one.
Yeah, and of course a Hobart 1000 winner, a Group 1 winner just over a month ago now. So he's got plenty of talent, the old boy.
Hey, they buggered up the recent golden ticket race, I reckon, in Queensland. Did you see that?
Yes, I did. The dead heat, and only one of them could go through, which was
automatic
unfortunate.
entry into the gold bullion. Such an important amount of everything riding on that, really. And the greyhound that we're talking about now is Jay, who eventually got that position into the Gold Bullion. Will race in that race on Thursday night, which we'll chat about in a moment. But Jay, the fifth greyhound in. Now, Kelsey Bale, I'm going to jump ahead to this one because this is a favourite of mine. Sixth greyhound to make the top 12. What a star she is. And her run behind Baby JC Saturday night, absolutely enormous. So she goes into this a contender. And I think when it comes to Kelsey Bale, even though she won the Laurels at Sandown Park, Smith Doggy Dog, I think she's a Meadows dog through and through, and her form in Queensland was pretty crappy, I think. But back to the Meadows, she went good.
We spoke about this last week. I think her record leading into the weekend where she got beaten by Baby JC, but I think her record was 8 starts for 5 wins and a couple of placings, including an unbelievable run in the Group 3 Silver Bullet towards the end of last year where she went 29.56, and it was a run that you had to see to be believed.
It was enormous. McInerney is the next one in. $1 million chase winner. It's funny, this is a dog that we've all sort of thought's not that good, and then he just keeps getting better and he keeps on winning these types of races, and I thought his run in the Phoenix was outstanding. So he's in the top 12 now, McInerney.
Yeah, 100% $1 million chase winner. He was placed in a Top Gun, very close fourth in a Phoenix behind 3 absolute all-timers, really, Hall of Famers sort of calibre greyhounds. So he's an absolute cracker as well, McInerney.
Country Cup superstar, Mobile Legend, is the next one to get a run, and he's just taken the country circuit by storm. He won the Warrigal Cup, smashed them. I'm rapt he won the Terrelgan Cup because I was tipping him to everyone. He was $5 at the time, and I thought he should be $3, and he ended up paying $8 top toed. I'm still scratching my head.
I hope you took the unders.
To be honest, I didn't have a bet, Smithy. That's how well I'm going. But I did tip it to everyone, so everyone's patting me on the back and telling me I'm a good bloke. But Mobile Legend, look, he's the next one that gets into the top 12. Whether or not he makes the top 8's interesting because he hasn't got that city form. But who decides the top 8, by the way?
It'll be decided between the MGRA panel and the GRV graders. So we'll come together later in the week and decide that top 8 and finalise it all just before the box draws are done on Saturday.
Okay, She's a Pearl, the next one. Star from New South Wales, but not as good as Wow She's Fast.
Oh, no. You're really trying to get the headlines, mate. Cane corns of the greyhound world. That is what you want. But no, She's a Pearl.
She's
you can't
a
star. You can't be too upset if your connections to She's a Pearl. She's an absolute superstar, and obviously we saw her run at a massive, massive third in the Phoenix as well.
I'd be happy to own one that's as quarter as good as she is on a serious note. Shipwreck's the next one in. Goes around in the Gold Bullion, drawn box number 8, and what he did in the lead up to the big races here during the carnival in Melbourne last spring carnival was, I think he really announced himself that he can mix it with the best dogs in the country, and he's not just a greyhound that we see do really well in Queensland.
Yeah, exactly right. He's a star. He's a very, very fast animal. He just needs to get it right at the start of a race, and he's in every race up to his ears.
Titan Blazer, the next qualifier in, put Danny and Beck Gibbons on the map, this greyhound. He ran a competitive race in the Melbourne Cup, and he's one that we're just seemingly seeing in all of the big races. He was disappointing in the match race last start, which from my perspective would be a knock on him heading toward a race like the Temlee.
Yeah, look, he's just Mr. Consistent, though. He's got that mid-race burn that you need to win these big races, and he just seems to be there and thereabouts every single time. So it's no surprise to see him in the top 12 here.
That's it? That's all?
I don't know. I think you're missing one, Jim.
Hang on. Where are we? Sportsbet love one greyhound, don't they?
I don't know why we don't have 2 trophies here.
Well, I think someone's pinched them from Sportsbet, but it is Wow She's Fast, and obviously she is in the top 12, and I would like to... Look, I'm a betting man, Smithy. I would be putting some money on the fact she will make the top 8.
I'd probably lose whatever credibility that I do have if I didn't make sure that she was in that top 8. But yeah, she's obviously a deserved top 12 entrant. Wow She's Fast. She's an absolute superstar.
First $2 million greyhound, double Phoenix winner. Doesn't get any better. Let's have a look at the market for this race. The guys at Sportsbet, the guys and gals have been good enough to pop together a market already. Nobody else even knows the field, but we came in here, we sort of made this happen, Smithy, and Amron Boy's the favourite. Now, the box draw is going to take place Saturday night, so we don't know exactly where they're going to draw, but Amron Boy $3.30, Wow She's Fast $4. Is there any value there? Kelsey Bale at $9, She's a Pearls $5.50, and maybe Mobile Legend at $14. If he can now go to the Meadows and get a start and do something pretty special, he's overs at $14 if he gets a run.
Yeah, look, it probably all depends on the box draw, really. If Amaron Boy draws one and some of the other big dogs in like a Wow She's Fast and a She's a Pearl, they draw outside, then he probably comes in the market. Fernando Mick obviously uses a bit of the track, so if he's in the final 8 as well, then he's gonna play a big part in it. So it's a bit of an interesting one. It's probably one that you do want to nearly wait for the box draw to come over the line and see the value and see it kind of play out from there.
Was there only 10 in that graphic just then, Smithy? I think there might have been only 10. The other 2 might have been too big a odds, so they haven't put those 2 in. I'm thinking that's the case anyway, Smithy. But let's move on to the Rookie Rebel. 600 metres, intriguing race. And so often we see... Generally, you see a 700-metre greyhound try and drop back, and then you see those 500-metre greyhounds like maybe a French Martini who go, let's have a crack at the 600 and try and get out in front. We'll start with the first greyhound, A for Amplified, another greyhound from WA who could run a big race in a race like the Rookie Rebel with that early speed.
Yeah, exactly right. It certainly doesn't look out of place. I know none of these greyhounds look out of place because they're just unbelievable fields that we're selecting from. But Amplified, another one from WA. The WA dogs seem to come over here and do pretty well. We've seen Vice Grip obviously go over there, come back. We saw plenty of greyhounds over the years that have been able to.
You were around when Miata was doing what she was?
I wasn't working in the greyhound industry, but I certainly was a fan of Miata. She's obviously an all-time great Hall of Famer and arguably the best that WA has produced.
Sandown did some kind of promo years and years ago with Miata, and I'm sure if she won the race, somebody had the chance to win a car or something like that. And I can't recall exactly, but I can't remember if she even won the race, but she was an absolute superstar, Miata. And not only was she a superstar, she dragged so many people through the gates back 100%. In that era. We're probably talking 10 years ago now, but I remember going to the track and there was literally people lining up watching what Miata does.
Like she was with Fernando Bale and Fanta Bale and Wow She's Fast.
Wow She's Fast.
Those sorts of animals that transcend the sport that people just want to come and see.
Yeah, and WA have produced them. Tommy Shelby's another. Greyhound number 2 to make the top 12 is Aston Velvet. How could you leave her out? She won the Hume Cup. Brilliant beginner, makes her own luck, and she'll be a contender if she gets a run.
Yeah, exactly right. Mixes her distances, and 600 metres for me is her best journey, and obviously we saw that with the Group 1 Hume Cup not too long ago.
Without getting too much into to the integrity side of things, does the win in the feature race last week for Black Sail, who we now announce as the 3rd of the top 12, does that increase Black Sail's chance of getting a run in the Rookie Rebel, do you think?
It would have to. I mean, you win big races and you kind of get put up in the books of everyone. So winning a race like that, Black Sail, obviously if it didn't win that, probably not thought of as highly, but it was a very impressive win and definitely comes into consideration.
Dookie Devil. What do you say about the Duke? Very, very quick. Tricks in the bag, but very, very quick. We all know trial was at 29.50s or something in the lead up to
I think 29.58 it was leading up to went straight into the Hume Cup after that. Right. So very, very fast dog, as we all know, and we've spoken about him ad nauseum on this podcast over the time, but he's a very, very talented dog.
You want to see a man who's a little bit disappointed at the moment? Daryl Holmes with El Dorado. I called the race at the Meadows. He is the 5th greyhound in, and he looked deflated walking back from the boxes on Saturday night. He had such a checkered run, but he was such a big run, El Dorado, and knowing that he raced in the Phoenix, he raced and won the Melbourne Cup heat, I think, in the quickest time of all the heats from memory. He could be a real contender, and to be honest, he would almost be my pick to win the final. Whether or not he gets a start, I'm not 100% sure because he hasn't got any real 600 metre form, one start for a third, but on what he brings, he could be a contender.
Yeah, it's a massive talking point. We'll get to another talking point next up as well. But El Dorado, he obviously runs home in 11.80 odd pretty much every start over the 500 metres to my eye. And I'm no trainer by any stretch of the imagination, but he looks like he's really looking for that 600 metres now. We saw him first crack at it on the weekend. Didn't go all to plan, but I think moving forward, that's where he wants to be.
French Martini up next. Star from New South Wales. She hasn't performed in Victoria, but maybe the step to 600, dragging her out in front, could be the key.
She trialled really well at the Meadows leading up to the Top Gun and then went Top Gun Melbourne Cup and just failed quite a few times. But she goes back to New South Wales. She's an absolute star up there, so she gets another crack down here. At least she's in the top 12 anyway.
Great Guy is the next one in. Interesting type. Won a heat of the Sale Cup. I thought the resumption run at the Meadows Saturday night was really, really good from this dog. Look, I think he's going to be a 700 metre dog. Whether or not he's at the class to win a 600 metre Group 1 invitation, we'll have to wait and see. But he's a chance if he gets in there and he gets an inside draw.
Certainly
too.
talented. We obviously saw him through the Sale Cup Series. He's a greyhound with plenty of upside, and whether that is over 600 or further, that's yet to shake out. But he doesn't look out of place.
When you talk like footy, you talk about the Dustin Martins being just superstars. Nathan Buckley. You were a fan of Nathan Buckley back in the day as a footballer?
I was, mate. Yeah,
mate.
Not so much as a coach towards the end, but
didn't work out, did it?
But as a player, absolutely.
No, well, we're both Collingwood fans, and I remember as a kid, all I wanted to do, I called it the Buckley stab pass, and I used to wander around school just Buckley stabbing, and I did actually accidentally put one through a school window once before, football that is.
We've all been there.
But this greyhound Jarek Bale reminds me of one of those types of players because he just finds a way. He's brilliant, and he just keeps on winning races. We sort of wrote him off in the lead up to the Sale Cup, and I've been making this comment lately a fair bit. You can never discount a champion, and I said that about She's a Pearl recently in the feature, the Paws of Thunder. She wins. Didn't tip her. Wow, she's fast again in the Phoenix. She's the champion. She's the superstar of the sport, and they just find a way. Jarek Bale's that greyhound when it comes to this distance range, and I couldn't put a line through him.
No, I don't think you can in any race. The amount of times that I've left him out of my top four because he's been drawn wide or had a sticky draw and a wide runner on his inside or a railer on his outside, and I've had egg on my face. So Jarek Bale is as consistent as they come, and he's, let's be honest, he's probably one of the first picked.
Yeah, pocket money, the next one. This is the Smoky for Thursday night's race in Brisbane. The staying race, third run back from third staying run back this campaign. We saw what Pocket Money did in the heat of the Hume Cup.
Went within a length of the track record.
Dinah Double One's record, isn't
That's
it?
That's it. Who is an all-time great Dinah Double One. So to get that close,
Smoky.
You're going good.
It's a Smoky, I reckon. Punters Bandit up next.
I think this is another Smoky. I haven't seen the odds yet, but Punters Bandit, I think if she draws down near the inside, she's a Group 1 winner already.
Strong too.
Strong, very strong.
Looks a bit like
Group 2 winner. I think it was. I don't know about that, but Group 2 in the. I think it was the Gosford Gold Cup or something like that. So stepping up to the 600 metres, I think that's her go, and she's an absolute rocket.
Biceps almost popping out of the shirt over there at the moment, Smithy. Bit of time in the gym lately, or
no? That hasn't happened for quite a few years, Jim. But
neither of us.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. They've somehow let us on a VODCAST rather than just a podcast.
I'm surprised.
So it's not the worst thing ever.
No, we must be looking all right. Stout Manelli's up next. Gets a run in the top 12. Just a consistent type. 600 metre bandit. Should be competitive if he draws an inside trap.
Yeah, exactly. Wins in WA, wins in South Australia, wins in Victoria, wins everywhere he goes.
Would win a race here if they.
He probably would if we put one on in this studio. There's probably not enough room for him. He probably needs a little bit further distance, but he's
a good railer though. Be able to rail around this table, no problem. Wheel and Go is the last one with a W to get a run in the top 12. Not necessarily get a run. I keep jumping the gun a little bit, Smithy, but I am excited. Wheel and Go, promising type from the Britain Kennel. Another one that I think a lot of these are going to rely on an inside draw, especially at that 600 metre start. So the top 10 is going to be intriguing. The top 8 is going to be even more intriguing. And I think the box draw itself is going to be even more intriguing than those.
Yeah, exactly right. It's they've still got to get in. I know the top 12 is nice to get into, but I'm guaranteeing that the connection sitting at home watching this or listening to this, they want to get into that top 8, and they'll probably, as you said, they'll probably all want an inside draw.
They will. Before I bring up the market, Smithy, who would you have as the favourite from that top 12?
It's a tough one.
See if you get a job here at Sports.
It's quite a wide open, to be honest. I think Jarek's going to be in the top couple.
Yeah, okay.
I think that's my call. I think he'll probably be in the top 2 or 3.
Who's the favourite though, Smith? I didn't ask you who's going to be in the top 2 or 3.
I'd say Dookie Devil's right up there.
Dookie Devil. Okay, let's bring up the market now to have a look. And it is Dookie Devil $4.20 and Jarek Bale's in the top 3 at $4.80. Eddie value, pocket money $7.50, I reckon. 33.98, I think the time was that he ran in the heat of the Hume Cup, for memory. If he runs that, he wins that race. He wins this race, no problem. $7.50.
Yeah, exactly right. If he runs that time, there's not many that can run that time. We've never really seen it before, but I think there's one on there that's not even on the screen. And if he draws on the inside, if he gets a run in the race, El Dorado, he's crying out for 600. He's obviously a bit of a query dog. Haven't seen him much over the 600. That might be the value.
Okay, so El Dorado not even on the screen, so that would tell me he would be over $15.
Must be.
If that's the case, I reckon we have a little dabble on the way out of here, Smithy. Let's have a look now at the Zoom top. Stayers, $7.25. We'll sort of spear through this one a little bit. Starting with the first greyhound in, Ariane Bale, is a nightmare. Hard to follow, hard to catch. I can't catch her. I tip her 1 week, she loses. I go against her, she wins. I don't really like following her, but she's a good stayer. She is a good stayer.
She's a good stayer. She's an out-and-out stayer. She's not something. She's not one of the ones that's going to be at the front at the start of the race, but she will be coming on hard.
Corborn Magic, second greyhound in. Smithy, star from New South Wales.
Arguably, I think in many circles, people will say that he's the best stayer in Australia at the moment, Corborn Magic. So we saw what he did first up down at Sandown.
He'd never been there either.
No, he'd never been there, so he's got plenty of talent.
Up third, Golden Quest.
Speed. She's the one that'll be up the front leading if she gets a run because she's electric early.
Quarter, Mapunga Ruby, the next two in. They sit alphabetically together in this particular race, both prepared by Jeff Britton and Ange Langton, who we will have on the podcast, Ange Langton, in just a moment. So we will chat a little bit about these two runners who have made the top 12. But of those two, Mapunga Ruby is an automatic starter. I don't care what you say. I don't care about the integrity she is in. Quarter, probably on the fringe.
Yeah, look, it's the up-and-comer versus the proven talent, really, those two. So they both got plenty of ability and both somewhat similar greyhounds that they lob midfield to a forward point, and that's their go.
I've noticed something with the stayers. A lot of them can be hard to catch, and Maureen Susie is exactly that. Explosive win in the Top Gun stayers last year. Powers home, beats them hands down, and then loses races at Geelong over 680 that she probably should win at about $1.30. That's the type of dog she is, but she's very quick when she gets it right and very strong.
Yeah, she is, and obviously the Top Gun panel got it slightly wrong, having her as the first reserve.
Silly panel.
That's
what happened when
panel.
They got rid of me, Smithy. The reserves win both the Top Guns.
I'll tell you
Get
what,
me
mate.
back on.
It does go to show that there's probably the first probably 5 are usually pretty easy to pick, but then from 6 to say 20, any of them could go into the race and win.
I was going to say, all you need to get me back on that panel is I just want one free dinner, one free meal, and I'm happy, Smithy. But no, it is very challenging, and like you say, those last few positions could go. You could flip a coin half the time,
exactly right,
and it could go either way. Range, Queenslander again, early speed, led up last week, got tired in a heat of the Gold Cup in Brisbane, but does possess early speed and is a greyhound that hasn't performed very well in Victoria. Did trial, I think, pretty well in the lead up, and if it gets a run, just a bit of an X-factor runner who could get out in front.
And a little bit different to a lot of these where he actually does like being drawn to the outside. So it's nothing to discredit him or anything if he does get drawn on the inside, but I'm sure the connections, if he gets a run, he'd like to be drawn outside.
Tell me a little bit about Ritza Piper. First feature win for the trainer, I think it was in Sydney a couple of weeks ago. What do you make of this chaser?
Yeah, for Joe Skerry. So Group 2 winner at its last starts, had 14 starts. I think it's had 8 wins and just running the hands off the clock. Breaks 42 seconds for fun at Wentworth Park, which only the best of them do. So it's probably the up and comer of the 12 here.
What about Stagger Out Lee? I'll never forget the call of Dan Hibbert. Stagger Out Lee! Wow, he goes to win the. I hope they had the audio turned down when I was about to just blaze away like that. But no, look, just an exciting greyhound to watch. A little bit like a Bold Tree, Swift Fantasy gets back, and you can never ever completely write this greyhound off.
Just a big heart. She just chases and she'll get back, run on. That's her style.
Superman keeping, won a heat of the Gold Cup. Strong win, defeating, I think it was Pocket Money for memory, up there in Brisbane. So that's a good form line coming into a series like this and maybe just peaking at the right time.
It is another greyhound that just seems to win wherever he goes. He's obviously still on the up in his career, but yeah, as he said, he's a greyhound with plenty of talent.
Zarbel up next, drawn from WA, another one that is extremely hard to catch, Smithy. I don't know what to make of Zarbel other than the fact that if this was a solo trial and the fastest time wins speed start, you'd probably back Zarbel.
Yeah, exactly right. She's got plenty of ability and she's very, very fast.
What about Untapped? Superstar greyhound, won the Sandown Cup last year. That's the last greyhound to make the top 12.
Yeah, I think everyone has a little bit of a soft spot with Untapped, with the story that she's got so many owners and so many first-time owners, and they've just been on a ride of a lifetime, and she's obviously an absolute top liner.
Okay, Smithy. Well, it is a very, very good lineup. All 3 races are very, very strong. But here's the future Zoom top market, Corborn Magic. Well, you sort of made a bit of a statement, and I reckon the team out the back have heard that and said we better just shorten up Corborn Magic. 350 at the top of the tree. Maureen Susie 460. Mapunga Ruby's 550. Would you recommend any of those at value for the future all-ins at the moment?
Oh, look, again, it's hard to say. There's so many different form lines coming through. There's so many interstate greyhounds that are in consideration for the top 8. So until you have that, it's really difficult. But some of the proven stayers at the top of the market there are probably going to shorten up if they draw a nice box.
I'll tell you what, that was big. That was absolutely massive, Smithy. The biggest intro we've ever had on the show. proud to announce and get the exclusive too on the top 12 for the 3 big Group 1s. But let's get this show back to a little bit more normality, I guess, and we'll go back and have a look at Sandown Park now and last week's Run of the Week.
Run of the Week.
Okay, Smithy, Run of the Week time. You've never done a Run of the Week at the Sandown Park Greyhounds and you look a little bit lost, a little bit confused, but we're going to start with Maat and Corey, who won the Australian Sprint last week, and let me tell you, this was a massive win. Have a look at this, drawn box number 1.
Racing, Maat and Corey was only fair, great speed out. My Neo's going to fly over with Dynamic Prince. They bump into the first turn. Maat and Corey charges through. Right there, Joliet Bale. On the inside, Kai Bale. Well back, he's no slouch. Zippy Tesla's second last, and Dynamic Prince has gone back to the rear. My Neo, the leader. Maat and Corey's now up on the outside and straight to the lead. Charged away, put away My Neo and Kai Bale. Maat and Corey's going to win the Australian Sprint. Maat and Corey first over Kai Bale, and I think
absolutely massive performance there
no
for Maat and Corey. Steph and Sam Tyler combining with Jason Thompson, just a momentous effort really to come from behind, and a greyhound that just looks like maybe now she's starting to put it all together.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think I've used this line before, but I'm going to use it again because it's that good. But Steph and Sam Tyler, if you could buy shares in people in the greyhound industry, you'd buy shares in them, because it seems like every next month, basically, there's a dog with the Kalinda tag there that looks like a future top liner. We've seen some absolute superstars: Kalinda Paddy, Kalinda Lady, Unleash Kalinda, obviously track record holder down at Healesville, and now Maat and Corey looks to be every bit as good.
Do you know the key to their success? What it is?
What is it?
They were the first guest on the Green Light On Premier Racing podcast, Steph Tyler.
There you go. That has to be it.
You can see why they became.
That has to be it. It's got nothing to do with hard work or dedication. It's all about Green Light On podcast.
We all know that. Let's have a look at Black Sails. Speaking about hard work, Nettie McDonald, box number 1. This was a sensational win.
Good speed on the inside from Black Sails, going to drive through and keep the lead. From on the outside, Golden Quest. Shit gets to third. Wheel and Go is next, followed by Aston Velvet. Then came Mapunga Warrior, who rails through. Behind them was Ailey Bale and on the off. But Black Sail is about 9 lengths in front down the back straight. From Mapunga Warrior, who gets through to second from Schick. Then came Golden Quest and Wheel and Go, but it's a one-act affair. Black Sail is a mile in front, and Black Sail's going to bolt in by 6 or 7 on Mapunga Warrior. Photo third.
Brilliant win, Black Sail for Nettie McDonald. Well done to young Ned again. Just a regular on the show. I think Steph Tyler and Ned McDonald are 2 of the most frequent guests on this podcast, and you have to draw the parallel. You have to draw those lines together and work out there's one thing that creates success, and like you said, Smithy, not hard work. It is this podcast, but Nettie Mac's a great young fella, great young trainer, and this greyhound Black Sail, he has said to me for a long time, this is a serious dog, and that was the moment that I think he went to that next level.
Yeah, to beat a field like that by, I think it was just over 7 lengths, you've got to have a serious greyhound on your hands. I know, aided by the inside draw, but if he can put it all together, Black Sail, he's a proper top liner.
Smithy, we've looked at the futures down the track. We've looked at what happened last week. Why don't we take a look and try and find a way to make a dollar at this Thursday night with Thursday night's preview?
Thursday's preview.
Well, here we are, Thursday night preview time now. This is Smithy's first time taking a look at Sandown Park. He looks like a fish out of water in that blue shirt, let me tell you. But Smithy, we'll start with race number 1. You know the drill. It's the same as the Meadows, but just a different venue. Here's the field. Starting with race 1 at 6:57, the launching pad March to April, mixed 6 and 7. Thought this was a hard race to start the night. I thought it was a pretty hard night overall, but I'm going with Slingshot Hogan, number 6 on top. Thought the win on Sunday was good. I don't think the track was super quick on Sunday, therefore could be a progressive type.
Yeah, I might have the white shorts on, but it's not the first time that I've done Sandown form in my life, Jim. I'm a fan of the Thursday nights. This is a tough one, tough card, tough race, but I think the speed's coming from the 6 and the 7. The 2 probably has the best draw, but I don't think she can run the time, so I'm going to go with the 6 on top, Slingshot Hogan. So we're great minds just off the top.
We always do. Great minds, great minds, great minds. But race number 2, over the 595. Let's have a look at this one. Interesting race. These 595s aren't that strong, I don't think, at the Sandown Park meeting on Thursday night. So if you've got a greyhound and your own one in there, you're more than happy. I'm with number 1, Pink Fedora on top. I just think could get into a really good place drawn the inside, and it'll probably go round at a decent each way price as well.
Yeah, I think there's no question that Serena Bale's probably got the most upside for this race, but the draw is yuck. On top selection, but I won't be putting any of my hard-earned on.
Okay, race number 3, my best bet of the night, this one. Springview Noah, drawn box number 4. Rough shot's just really, really smart, but really, really hard to follow. And I'm keen on Springview Noah. I think we'll get a beautiful run. There's not a lot of speed in the race, so I think he could be second or third. And from there, I think he wins.
Yeah, look, this is another one that I won't be putting my hard-earned on, but I've got Rough Shot on top. I think he's the fastest dog in the race. We spoke a little bit earlier about if you put them all one out, I think Rough Shot would probably be the fastest time.
Tell you what, race number 4, 595. I know you're keen on one here, but I like Valor Bale off the inside. A greyhound who's won 9 out of 30. If you back the Delbridge runners, you know, and we've spoken to them a lot on this podcast, they work their greyhounds pretty hard. They're all very fit, and you know they're going to run through the line. And I think this greyhound will do exactly that.
Yeah, exactly right. Middle distance chasers and the Delbridges, they just go hand in hand. But I am pretty keen here on Jackpot Joan for Glenn Dainton. I think it'll get a nice little run into the race. I've got it mapping as the leader. It's just whether these strong types that are going to be sitting behind us can run over the top of a slate.
Valor Bale straight past Jackpot Jones and wins easily and just rubs a bit of salt in the wound of Smithy. Race 5, the Green Light On podcast, mix 3 and 4. I love the fact we've gone from the mix 6 and 7 low grade right up to sort of the free-for-all company. Tricky little race, this one. Nitro Bale almost won a heat of the Melbourne Cup, was ran down by Vice Grip right on the line. Perfect Colours, the key to the race, I think, drawn box number 4, will push up the track. Nitro Bale will begin, I think, make contact with River Rough, and I just think Storm Stroller's going to get a soft lead. Now, I am concerned that if Nitro Bale can kick up on the rail, he can win it, but I'm going to go with Storm Stroller.
I certainly can never find Storm Stroller myself. He wins so much, but I can never tip him on top. And this, for me, if I was having a quaddie, this would be a field in the quaddie. This is a really, really tough race. If I'm forced to have a bet, I won't sit on the fence like you normally do, but I'll have the 6 to place Grace in Shock. He just seems to be in good form and just seems to run places for fun.
I'm trying to work out, mate, how you can't catch Storm Stroller. He's won 18.
That's what I mean.
18 of 39. Are you no good?
I reckon 21 races I've tipped him on top, and I've never found him.
It's red or black. It's as simple as that. He's a star. Race number 6, I'm with Zohar Bale on top here. Drawn box number 1. I've got a close little asterisk watch on Indiana Phones in box number 2 because I thought the run was good from an awkward draw last time and actually beat one of ours up the straight last time prior to that. So 2 starts ago. Not really last time, is it, Smithy? But I'm with 1, Zohar Bale, with a watch on the 2.
Yeah, obviously drawn really nicely, Zohar Bale, but this is a race that doesn't have too much pace in it. So I tried to find the leader, and I think that's Security Man, new to the Knot Kennel. Obviously, earlier on in his career, he was running low 5s here at Sandown. If you can go back to that, even a 5.10, I think, leads this race. So Security Man on top, probably an each way pricer.
Race 7, 5.15 the journey. What do we make of here? I think Make No Premise is the best dog in the race. Make No Promise. The draw is sticky. Zipping James in 2 pushes up the track. Tough Tears goes left. Russian Sub, I think, might be having his 100th start in retirement because this race is called the 100 starts, enjoy retirement sub.
Seems that way.
I'm assuming
you're putting 2 and 2 together.
Well, I'm drawing a line between the 2 dots, and assuming that is the name of the race, and hence the greyhound's having its final start. So I might cheer for Russian Sub, but I'm going to go Make No Promise. But you're probably going to take an odds-on price on a dog that's going to need a lot of luck from the draw.
Yeah, exactly right. It's probably not a price that I'm going to be willing to take, but Make No Promise is clearly the best greyhound in it.
Race number 8, I like Tinker Norm, drawn perfectly in box number 6. If you go back early days, this greyhound raced at the Meadows, explosive speed down the back, and I think box 6 suits him. His win at Hillsville was good last week, and I love the Hillsville form, even going from 300 to 500 in town. And the Watchdog's comment is star prospect. Watch the clock if he crosses, and I think that's precise. I think he'll win.
Yeah, he was a second reserve in the Silver Chief and wouldn't have looked out of place in that race, which we know was really, really hot. His 2 performances at Hillsville leading up to this have been great. I think back to the 2 turns, drawn out wide, he ticks lots of boxes. Tinker Norm, surely one of the better bets tonight.
Race number 9, Sports Bet Make It a Multi. Lecturer Teddy perched up off the inside. We'll chat to Jess Hopkins in a moment in regards to his chances in the race. Thought it was a tricky race. I'm going with the 6 Little Tiger. We train the 4 Aston Roman, but he's drawn a bit upside down there, and I think he might actually make the race for Little Tiger in box number 6, who might just be the class above a few of these.
Yeah, look, I've got Orbital Bale on top. 25.54, 3 starts go at Geelong. They don't go much quicker than that. And since then, has been beaten by Revolution and Rejuvenate, who are 2 genuine top liners. So I think back to this grade in this company around 2 turns, I think Orbital Bale, if we can get out into a nice position, we'll be winning.
What about race number 10? I thought this was hard. Sports bet. BS responsibly.
Which I don't think either of us do very often.
No.
The BS we do, just not the
I was going to say,
part.
no, 100%. But who wins it, mate? It's a pretty hard race. I'm itching my left eye just trying to work out who's going to win this one. And I honestly, I'm going to be 100% honest with you, Smithy, I haven't marked anything in this race. And I do like to do that every now and then.
You do sit on the fence quite often. I'm not going to sit on the fence because I don't like doing that. And I like being able to rip into you. I'm going to go with Crackerjack King. The draw's not ideal. Impressive at the Meadows last start. Can't win. Is that because you backed it last start?
Yeah, and I thought it was disappointing not to have won by further, and I thought the race speed mapped to perfection. So I hope you don't get annoyed with me, Smithy.
No, it's a tough race, but I'm
the boxing gloves, mate. I don't think it can win.
I'm just not sitting on the fence like you. This is
at least you've had a go, I suppose.
Exactly right.
Here I am. I'll go with number 2 then. Go see Katoni. Probably can't win. If the 8 beats the 2, I'm going to look silly. We might have to have a little side bet, I think. I think we might have to. We'll settle that after the show. What about race 11? greyhoundfacts.com.au. I'm keen on Buddy Manelli here. There's a little bit of a whisper going around, and it's more of a yell. The greyhound trialled well at Sandown Park, because I mentioned that when I wandered through the doors here at Sportsbet, and you, Smithy, being a Meadows man, I thought you'd have no knowledge of that whatsoever, and you said no. That came across my desk.
Friends in high places, but you slow out in a tough race last week.
Yeah, easier.
I think if he can jump a little bit better, he's quite strong. So I think from the inside, from the middle, if you can get down to the inside, I think he can run a big race.
If he had the inside, I think he'd be a really good bet. Race 12, Lucky last you at 10.45. Again, hard race. Launard Express was impressive last time to win at the Meadows, and I'm probably going to lean that way, but not with a great deal of conviction, because he's another one. The form can be very up and down. The win at Ballarat was sensational. He went 25 flat. Should be a group class dog, really, and then form tapered off. He goes to the Meadows, dominates. When the race ran to suit him, there was a bit of trouble behind. He was left a long leader, but I think he has to lead to win. That's the concern from box number 6.
Yeah, it is. I said last week on the Meadows preview that this was his last chance. He managed to win. I didn't think the time was all that impressive for the sort of calibre greyhound that I think he is. I'm still going to tip him on top. I'm giving him another chance.
Well, that's it. That's the 12 races done and dusted. This is the first time I can tell the producer. That's how big we're getting. Hit the stinger for Punters Punting Club, please.
Punters Punting Club.
That is... I don't think anyone here at Sportsbet would have heard a jingle quite as smooth as that one.
Well, they're probably not wanting to put their name to it, so we might not have to mention them for a couple of minutes, because they don't want anything to do with that jingle, but it is a personal favourite of mine.
I like it. Spend $50, Smithy. You know what to do, mate. The only time that you've had to do it at Sandown Park is this time, so I'm a little bit worried. You found form this year, and then you dropped form last week, so hopefully you find form again. It's as simple as that.
Well, I've put the white shorts on. I'm in the away.
What's this white
the
shorts?
Away rooms. The away rooms.
Okay.
The footy rooms.
You used that twice, and I wasn't too sure what it was.
Well, yeah, I didn't get a giggle the first time. So when you have a little bit of doubt and no one runs with your joke, give it another crack and explain it. That's a proven formula to make it funny. Race 4, number 5, $50 the win. Jackpot Joan for mine. It's a tough race, but I think it's the clear leader, and I think it'll be holding on late. So Jackpot Joan for me.
I don't know if it can win, Smithy. That's my advice. But my best bet, Springview Noah, I'm going to have $20 the win and $30 the place. 20 the win, 30 the place on Springview Noah. But as always, gamble responsibly. Never, ever gamble more than you can afford to lose. But guess what? It's quiz time.
Green light on. Premier Racing quiz time.
All right, Smithy, when we wandered in here, we had a little meeting downstairs, and I said to you, Smithy, we're doing a 3-question quiz, and you dropped a bomb on me. Can you tell me a little bit more?
Well, I'm sick of looking like the fool in this. You just throw out the questions, and I'm the one that looks like a peanut. So I said, all right, if we're doing a quiz, that's fine. You ask me a couple of questions, and then I'll ask you one.
Okay. Only one?
Only one. I've only got one. No, I've got one for you.
Okay.
That's it. Just one.
Well, here we go. For the people to play at home, we need you to use your buzzer, which is Corey. You know how this works. Okay. Question number 1 for you and the viewers and the listeners this time. What distance is the Zoom top?
It is 730 metres.
Are you sure?
I am very, very certain. I'm sure a lot of people weren't certain over the last 20-odd years, but it's now 730 metres.
For those who don't know, it is 730 metres, correct. But it used to be 725, but we haven't spoken about this for a little bit, Smithy, but can you just explain why the distance has changed in the last 12 months?
Just wrongly measured a while ago. So with the Isolinks data and things, we've thought we better update it and make sure it's all right. And now it's 730 metres.
I just love the fact that for
Boxes
so
didn't
long,
move.
for so long, there's this bloke who's wandered around with one of those little things that sort of spins around, and he's wandered around going 725, 725.
Had a couple of cordials and got a bit wobbly on the way around.
It's quite humorous. Question number 2: who won the 2018? I did say 2020, but 2018 Zoom Top. She ended up being a $1 million earner.
Oh, this is easy. You've just given me a half volley here because she's my favourite of all time, Fanta Bale.
Incorrect.
No?
Because you never used your buzzer, Smithy.
You rattled me then. I was like, no, I was so confident that I'd got it right.
It is correct. Last question. You're 2 out of 2.
This
would be the first time I reckon you've ever got 3 out of 3. And it'd shock me. Last year's Temley was won by Aston Rupee. Correct. Again,
Corey,
no buzzer.
That's hard when it's only me.
Correct. Well done, Smithy. That's 3 out of 5. Hit me with your best shot.
I've got one for you.
Come on, hit me.
So there's been one greyhound that was invited to nominate for all 3 in 1 year. The Temley over the 525, the Rookie Rebel over the 600, and the Zoom Top over the 725, which is now the 730.
That's a good question. That's a good question.
There's one greyhound. Same year, invited to all 3.
What year are we talking?
2018.
Fanta Bale.
Probably gives it away.
Fanta Bale.
Yeah. Would you have got that if I didn't give you the extra
Probably
clue?
not, but no, I do recall that. I do recall that.
Nice little morsel of information.
Because she won the Australian Cup. She could win over all different distances.
She certainly did. That's why she's my greatest of all time.
She was a champion.
That's another vodcast in itself.
She was a champion. Okie dokie, let's turn our attention now to my favourite segment on the show. It is Inside Info, and not just one guest, but 2 I've promised for this special episode, Smithy. And straight off the top, we're going to start with guest number 1. Not just a guest, part of the show, part of the family. Jess Hopkins has been good enough to join us once again. And Hopkins, what's news? What's cracking down there in Cranbourne Town?
Yeah, look, we're all safe here, so that's surprising crime burn. So we're all going pretty good and can't complain. Sun's out, so nice day.
Sun's out, guns out, just like my co-host here, Corey Smith, who you know very well. Smithy's waiting to say g'day. Say g'day, Smithy. Go on.
Welcome to the show, Jess. It's not often that we get to talk officially. Normally it's you just hurling abuse at me on the side, but obviously Cherie and Val weren't available. That James tried to ask your lovely mother or grandmother to come on, and we were stuck with you.
Yeah, it's like Jordan, Pippen, and then Hopkins. So
hey, tell us a little bit about this background, because you and Smithy mates for a long time and you've raced dogs together, and we haven't probably told the family that on the podcast. Can you elaborate a little bit there for us, Jess?
I think we've known each other. Well, I think Smithy was about 6 when he come to the farm. Yeah, with his dad, and we reared pups for him. I think Bonnie was her name, wasn't it? Black and white.
Bonnie was the first one. Yep.
Yeah. And then, probably 7 or 8 years ago, got a message saying, "Could you train a dog for us? We're looking for a dog." So Smithy and I can't remember if Burjo went up with you to the Ready to Runs at Bendigo and bought an Arendelle, and that's how it sort of started again. And of course, we had group success, and unfortunately, Corey was slumming it in San Francisco at the time when Corbett won the Brian Johnston. So it was just me on track with my big mug in the photo. So, no, unfortunately, known him for too long.
Yeah, well, that's a common theme with anyone that's known me for 20-odd years. But, Jess, we'll turn our attention to your runner this week, Thursday night at Sandown. Lectra Teddy, you touched on, we won a Brian Johnston together. So you like these SA crossovers. Lectra Teddy, come over from SA. He's in your kennel now. He looks to be going pretty well.
Yeah, look, he has been, but he was disappointing on Sunday. Obviously, he's actually never drawn box 1, so that will be interesting on Thursday night. But his last couple, he has headed to the fence. His first, 2 or 3 in Melbourne, he wanted to get off the track a bit, but I think he's adapted now. But, yeah, I just talked to the owner after Sunday and, look, we'll give him a couple more and see how he goes. He sort of it doesn't get a bit more consistent, he'll probably head back to South Australia. But the ability's there. 30.06 of the Meadows beating, I'm not going to try and pronounce the dog's name. You
Zoe.
can do that. Yeah, Zoe Bale, Joy Bale. So, yeah, he's, he does go okay, but he's very, very green, and he's actually still learning, funnily enough. So, yeah, I think these SA dogs only get to go around a couple of tracks, and, they come here and we've got 12 tracks, so it's a bit of a shock to them when they go to a new track.
Well, I just had an email come through that said, ask Jess about number 4 in the race, Aston Roman, trained by my wife. Do you see the big 39-kilo horse in box 4 as a little bit of a danger, Jess, or just an easy beat again?
No, I've run at Shepparton behind a Group 1 dog. You've got to give you a chance. I was actually going to ask you about it. You can give us any inside info. You're obviously you're not the trainer. The better half is, but...
I pick up the poo.
Much better.
I think, looking at the race, I think the 6 and 7 are our dangers. What do you think?
No, I do agree. Little Tiger, a little bit of inside info, flew in a trial on Sunday after the last, and Orbital Bales just got explosive early speed. But how do you see the race playing out? Obviously, you say Lectra Teddy's never had the red, but in the time that you've had him for your 5 or 6 starts, have you found that he wants to get down to the inside, or is he a dog that can sort of go from anywhere?
Yeah, only his last couple he's wanted to get down to the fence. On Sunday, he ran straight off the 2. But he just got second start in a row. He actually got jammed into the rail. So, Applicant, when it had the red at the Meadows, wanted to use a bit of the track. So I'm hoping it runs straight and can hold your big fella and those 2 outside out. And look, Teddy will hold his line and hopefully push up a bit better than on Sunday. And look, he's strong when he's in front. When he's behind, he can just go through the motions a bit. But he's in the first couple, he's nice and strong.
We're recording this in the Sportsbet studios in Melbourne. Podcast and a vodcast, Jess. For those who don't know, it's not a drink with vodka in it, a vodcast. What it is a video podcast. And we've got a little picture of you, and I think it might be with Panama Canal, a greyhound that you went on an amazing journey with. Can you tell us a little bit about that boy? He's now racing with Tony Brett up in Queensland.
Yeah, I had a chat to the owners after that last win at Geelong, and we decided he was going to go up to Tony's probably first or second week of January. But after that run, we decided to send him up there early, and I just said to Tony, he's just not ready for a 500. If I was going to get him ready, but if you're happy to get him ready for 500, you can have him now. And he said, send him straight up. So obviously he's not going that well, but Tony's happy enough with him. So I'd say his future lies up in Queensland until Tony's sick of him. I'm not sure if we'll see him back in Victoria or not. We haven't sort of discussed that. It's disappointing to have him up there, but I think I had to do it. I think it was the best thing for the dog to change kennels and just see if that sparked him up a bit again. Because that night at Geelong, he probably should have gone close to the record. And he's just he just got knocked over in that Pink Diamond final, and he hasn't really liked going in the catching pen ever since. So, yeah.
Well, good news, Jess. The regulars on this podcast, Team Dalbridge, they won the Melbourne Cup. Steph and Sam Tyler just about win everything. We've sort of drawn the lines. We've finally come to the realisation that the regular guests on this show are winning all of the big races, and you've been winning everything, city races left, right and centre. But the reason I say that is I want one greyhound from you right now that we can follow on this podcast and call our own moving forward. Can you give us one to follow?
Bobby Axelrod.
Yeah.
He's very good. He'd had one look at Ballarat. He'd had 10 days off into it. He was a bit sore, so couldn't trial last week, and I was really crook, and so he missed a bit of work. And to be honest, I thought he'd run 25.40 on Saturday night, I think it was. It's confusing saying that at Ballarat, but yeah, for him to run 25.04, he's a very, very nice dog going forward and still very young. And unfortunately, we've got to deal with probably one of, if not the fastest dog in Australia, off box 2. Hopefully he can miss a start and strike trouble. And we've drawn inside a fence crasher and Mr. Beats, and outside a bit of a middle track run and Rejuvenate. So we need luck, but he's the one I'd be following.
Well, good luck, Jess. Thanks for everything you do on this podcast and all of the winners that you give to our loyal listeners and now viewers. Good luck moving forward, and maybe not too much luck on Thursday night. Let us win our first city race, please.
No worries, I'll just tell Teddy to stay out the big fella's way.
That's it. Good on you, Jess. Well, let's head from Jess Hopkins to special guest number 2. Ange Langton's been good enough to join us on the podcast. And Ange, how are you travelling?
Very well, thank you, James.
Hey, we've got a lot to chat about. On this edition, we've had the exclusive rights to the top 12 for the big feature races coming up at the Meadows, the Zoom Top, the Rookie Rebel, the Tem Lee. We noticed that a couple of the star stayers are in there, Corda and Mapunga Ruby. Bit of a two-part question, this one. Obviously, they both go around in Brisbane on Thursday night. How do you see that race playing out? And secondly, you'd be pretty excited about their potential, I guess, chances of getting a run in the Zoom Top come that time of year.
Yeah, for sure, James. Look, I think they're very well boxed, both of them. You definitely want a Corda sitting outside Ruby because he tends to stay off the track a little bit, and I think she's got two slow beginners underneath her. So from what I can see, she's probably boxed perfectly. But yeah, we don't want to get our hopes up too high, but we can certainly be disappointed. But I think she's boxed beautifully, and hopefully, look, he ran a good race last week as well for the first time travelling in a plane and, you know, being somewhere different all day. But they did relax really well. We had them up with family inside the house in air conditioning all day, and, you know, they travelled brilliantly once they got there, so we were really wrapped with them.
Well, Ange, it's nice to hear that they've travelled brilliantly up to Brisbane, but I want to know how you guys went, because I hear you combined it with a little bit of a holiday up there.
Yeah, we did. We went to Mooloolaba for the week, and silly, we decided to race the dogs that week as well. So it probably took 2 days out of our holiday. But anyway, it was nice because we've got family in Brisbane as well as the Sunshine Coast. So we got to catch up with the family in Brisbane while we were hanging out waiting for the day to pass to go to the track. So it wasn't so bad after all.
Hey, that's obviously why people race interstate. I've worked it out now. It's a holiday and a couple of days at the races. It works out well. Let's turn our attention to Thursday night, Sandown Park. Ange, you've got a lot of runners in. I'm not going to bore you and bore the listeners by going through every single one, but we will just rattle them off. You've got Mapunga Roz, Mapunga, I think it's Tess. I've written these down and I can't read my own writing. Balone Boy, Weblex Scout, Roman Blazer, Go Seek Katoni, Mystic Moment. I hope I haven't missed any. Of those, which do you see as the better chances to take home a metro race at Sandown on Thursday night?
Look, I think a lot of them are boxed well this week. I think we've been drawing some pretty horrific boxes lately with some of the young ones, drawing out wide, which you really don't want to be. And particularly Mapunga Tess, she's got a lot of ability. And she last two starts at Meadows, she's been in the last race, and she's a real barking machine. So probably the last race doesn't suit her. So I think from memory, she's in race 2 this week, and she's drawn inside. So she actually has got a lot of ability, Mapunga Tess. She's a sister to Osprey Athena and Osprey Storm, and, you know, she goes as well as anything. So hopefully being an early race for her might suit her this week, so she might be worth watching.
I'll tell you what, Ange, that's all we need. I've just circled Mapunga Tess. I'm logging in now to have a little responsible wager. So, firstly, good luck with Thursday night. Racing in Melbourne, racing in Brisbane, and just quietly, I'm here with Smithy recording, and we're both, I think, pretty keen on Mapunga Ruby to win that race. And I think you analysed the race to perfection. The 2 will miss the kick in Brisbane in that Gold Cup, and Mapunga Ruby cherry ripe. One last question, though, I do want to know. I've made a comment this week that I think Mapunga Ruby is the fittest that we've seen her in some time. Obviously, it's hard because she's so highly graded that there wouldn't be just grade 5 staying races available for her, but I feel like she's got the most amount of continuous racing under her belt that we've seen for some time.
Look, I think she's going extremely well. She's had a lot of work up the straight, and she's had the odd trial, on the tracks in Melbourne simply to keep her fit, because when you get up in grade in Victoria, unfortunately, we just don't have the races for the dogs. And it's like Osprey Storm now, he's such a high grade that, you know, didn't get a start this week, which is really disappointing because it's hard to keep them up and, you know, get good form for those selective races that are coming up even at Meadows to get chosen in them. You really like to have a bit of form on the board. And once they get out of those low grades here, we don't seem to put races on and cater for these dogs, which is really disappointing, because if you go to Brisbane or Adelaide, you know, they put dogs in, even if it's a 4-dog race, they put the races on to keep those top grade dogs running. And we seem to do the opposite down here in Victoria, and for me, it's a real bugbear. I think I've brought this up for many years now. We seem to, once we have these high grade dogs, we don't seem to look after them as well, as far as I'm concerned, and it's really hard to keep dogs up at that peak level when they're not racing all the time. But look, Ruby's going terrific for a little girl that's getting on in age, and she's just done such a super job. And look, my little heart thinks, really hope she can take it out on Thursday night, because she really deserves to win that race.
Good on you, Ange. I'm cheering for you, and so Smithy, all the best.
Thanks very much, guys.
Well, there we go. That wraps up the Green Light On Premier Racing podcast. VODCAST, Smithy, it's been good fun. And I was a little bit concerned then when Ange said she's a barking machine. I thought she said she's a something else machine. And I was like, hang on a second, where have we gone there? But she didn't, thankfully.
No, she didn't. She's a
genius is what she is.
She is. She's a very intelligent woman, which in the conversation with us three, she's clearly at the top of the pecking order by a long way. Something like that, I think, yeah.
A lab or something like that. She's an absolute genius. That's what I've been told. Well, it's been great fun getting to know you in the flesh, sitting here enjoying this. Look at the lovely Green Light On imagery around, mate. It's been one hell of a show. It's a big show, a long show, but we had a lot to get through. So thanks for coming in. And
we did. We had plenty to get through, and I don't think there was too many people that were asking for us to get our mugs in front of the TV. But hopefully everyone enjoys it, and we keep growing this wonderful podcast because it's plenty of fun each and every week.
Good on you, Smithy. Good luck, safe travelling, and happy punting.